Hi, I'm Che. I'm a student in the Lexical class by Sir Girl Tuazon in the LaSalle College of St. Benilde. And for our gospel today, it came from Psalm chapter 96, verses 11 to 12. This passage shows how all of creation, heavens, seas, fields, and forests join together in worship, declaring God's glory through their existence. Personally, I think nature is not just scenery. It is a living testimony of God's presence. The rivers, mountains, and forests remind me that creation itself worships the Creator. When I notice these details, I feel invited to join in on that worship, and it strengthens my faith. Which inspired this haiku. Streams of living grace, mountains sing, and trees rejoice. God's breath fills the earth.
Hi, I'm Luis, a student in the class of Reexico by Sir Graal Tuason in the DLSU College of St. Benil. For our Gospel reflection today, I chose the Gospel, John chapter 20, verses 1 to 2 and 11 to 18. This Gospel reminds me that even in moments of grief and uncertainty, Jesus is always present. Even when we fail to recognize Him at first, Mary Magdalene's encounter with the risen Christ shows that hope can emerge from sorrow and that God's love transforms despair into joy. It encourages me to trust that Jesus is calling each of us by His name and invited us to share the hope of His resurrection with others. That line came with this haiku: morning light whispers, hope rises with His calling, love conquers the night.
I am Veronica, a student in the class of Reexico by Sir Grael Tuazon in the LaSalle College of St. Benilde. For my gospel reflection today, I pondered on the verse Proverbs chapter 3 verse 6. In all your ways acknowledge Him and He will make your path straight. So during my reflection, I felt that I needed to trust in God's plans more for my life, especially with everything going on in these recent years, in these recent months, weeks, even with all the chaos and the noise and just everything that's happening in the world that are disheartening. I feel like God has really been telling me to rely and trust in His plan, and no matter the outcome, it's for my best. And that I need to cling on Him more through all the uncertainties in my life. And that brought this haiku called Trust in God. When you walk by faith, we need to pray every day, trusting in God's plan.
Hi, I'm Louis Moreno, a student in the class of Rexico by Sir Grael Tuason in the De La Salle College of St. Benil. For our gospel reflection today, even when I sometimes lose my own focus in my life, God brings me back to His peace. In this passage, it reminds me that God's mercy is endless, and all He asks is that I open my heart and choose always to stay close to Him. And this reflection was inspired by Matthew 12, verse 30 to 32. Whoever is not with me is against me, and whoever does not gather with me scatters. And so I tell you, every kind of sin and slander can be forgiven, but blasphemy against the Spirit will not be forgiven. Anyone who speaks a word against the Son of Man will be forgiven, but anyone who speaks against the Holy Spirit will not be forgiven, either in this age or in the age to come. And this line became this haiku. Hold my fragile heart. Your mercy mends what scatters. I rest in your love.
Hi, I'm Luis Obilio, a student in the class Reexico by Sir Grael Tuason at the De La Salle College of St. Benilde. For our gospel reflection today, I reflected on how God's presence is revealed through creation. The beauty of the world reminds me that His love is constant, His mercy is renewed every morning, and His light continues to bring life and hope to all creation. This reflection is inspired by Psalm verse 19, chapter 1. The heavens declare the glory of God, the skies proclaim the work of his hands. That reflection became this haiku. Waves whisper of peace, sunrise paints the sky with hope, life blooms in his light.
Hi, I'm Jules Pio Amiel A. Birog, a student in the class on Rexico by Sir Grael Tuason in De La Salle College of St. Benilde. Our gospel today is from Matthew chapter 12, verses 38 to 45, where Jesus reminds us that faith is not about demanding signs, but trusting God's presence. In my reflection, I realized that I should not always wait for a sign before trusting God. Sometimes I become impatient and want immediate answers to my prayers. But today's gospel reminded me that God is always present, even in simple and quiet ways. Instead of asking for proof, I should strengthen my faith and allow God to guide my life each day. My haiku is that trust without signs. Morning light shines bright. Faith grows without asking signs. God leads me each day.
And our group built a renga from it, linking one image to the next. Footsteps on the road.
Feet feeling the rocky path.
I start to tumble.
Morning light shows the way home.
Till I safely made it through.
What awaits me at the end?
River meets the sea.
The glimmer of the water.
Shines through the sunlight.
The sunrise warms my spirit.
As it restored my own thoughts.
Found myself my inner zen.